The sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution. Yeah, we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's getting cleaned out real well. Pace car's off, kick some ass.
There's the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. Nice and solid. Take care of yourself.
Three wide.
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble.
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your main event of the WRLA week. We are here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the running of the 2026 Brickyard 400. It is the site of the 16th race of the season for the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series. And funny enough, you know, earlier today we just had ourselves the IRL, the real life NASCAR Cup Series Brickyard 400 that saw Corey Heim go to victory lane for the second time in his career. And now here we are, we're shaping up for our Brickyard 400, which should have been held yesterday, but in real life terms, we had ourselves a little bit of a server outage when it came to our internet, so I didn't really want to take too many chances, but just a little bit after when this race was supposed to start, I guess those issues kind of sorted themselves out. And here we are tonight, and we are ready to go racing from here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For those that were not with us last weekend, we were at the Nashville Super Speedway, and through pit stops and through all the strategies that played out, it saw Skylar Taylor go to victory lane for the second time this season and managed to win it over Zachary Taylor. So you had a little bit of the Taylor and Taylor show sort of play into effect here at, well, I mean, here in the NOS Energy Cup Series, and we had ourselves a very stacked week here this week when it comes to the action here for WRLA. You know, this past Wednesday, we had the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour at the Anderson Speedway that saw Wyatt Walker start off the week by going to victory lane, and then we had the Menards Truck Series down the street at the Indianapolis Raceway Park. Wayne Lopez went on to grab his second win of the season over in the Menards Truck Series, and you know, this is just a week of drivers grabbing their second wins. And Thomas Jericho last night, you know, last Friday night, as I pretty much was getting ready to allude to, went on to take the checkered flag for the second time this year, right here at the Brickyard this past Friday. And now we're getting ready to do battle for 80 laps of action here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We had ourselves a pretty decent shakeup in the point standings coming into this one. So let's go ahead and review those points coming in. And Andrew Miller has managed to retake the points lead away from Avery Alford by just a dozen points. Eric Monaco in third. Russell Blaze falls back to fourth. Tanner Parton stays in fifth. Terry Walker and Steven Walker still inside of the top 10. Skylar Taylor, after their win at Nashville last week, that moved them back up to ninth in the points. And CG Hall, you just saw, completes your top 10 in the point standings for the first time here this season. And as we take a look here through the rest of our point standings, so you see Sebastian Vaughn got dropped down to 16th, but still hanging on. Abby Walker moving up inside of the top 20 here in the point standings. And Nathan Stapleton, 21st on the grid. As we look at this next page, Wyatt Walker, who started the week off with a victory here at Anderson Speedway just a few days ago, unfortunately still 29th on the board for the point standings. And as we take a look at our final six drivers that are 31st through 36, Zachary Taylor needed a great run. He got it at the Nashville Super Speedway, but still just outside of the top 30 in the 36th out of the 36 contenders, 32nd in the point standings. And Kyle Craven, our defending champion, 34th here in the point standings, and definitely not exactly the results that he was looking for. He started off last week strong, ran inside of the top 5 for a majority of the events, and just pit stops, they couldn't quite get the strategy nailed down, and that marked them back to the 34th position. And that's just a tough break. And, you know, just 34th on the racetrack, and very just unfortunate, and definitely not a good starting spot here for tonight's race either, as we'll definitely talk a little bit more about Kyle Craven when we have the opportunity to do so. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and review your starting lineup for tonight's Brickyard 400. And it saw Mercedes Davis nab the front row for the first time in her NOS Energy Cup career. Russell Blaze lining up alongside with Trinity Anderson and Zachary Fitzwater. They make up row number 2 with CG Holt and Claire Phillips in row 3. Roberto Crown Jr., great start for him. Remember, he comes in dead last in the points. Sam Oskin in 8th, DeFeo 9th, and Clifton completes your top 10. Then you have the Durrani Racing entries of Rogel Dorn and Alex Sanvitali in row number 6. Janiyah Hill, great qualifying run for her, as she'll start 17th. Bobby McGuire right behind her in 19th. And then last week's winner, Skylar Taylor, starting in the 18th position. And as we take a look at the rest of your starting lineup coming into this one, this is definitely going to be an absolute barn burner, especially from what we saw in last year's NOS Energy Cup race that saw Emily Anderson go to victory lane. And, you know, to talk about definitely a lot of pressure, not just on the weight of, you know, Anderson's shoulders, but also talk about Kyle Craven as well. As you see, as you might have just seen him, yeah, there he is right there in the 31st starting position. He definitely has a lot of pressure on his shoulders coming into this one, because of the fact that he is 34th in the point standings and definitely not sitting in a good spot. And there's the look at the rest of your results right there. 41st and 42nd for our championship contenders. Definitely not the spot that they want to be in, as they'll be starting in the provisional, but they've got their work cut out for them here tonight. It's time for your main event, the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series Brickyard 400 from here at Indianapolis. The drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up, but in order to get these 42 behemoths rolling on the track, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
Drivers, start your engines!
There it is. Engines are fired. Pace car getting ready to roll off. And so will these 42 contenders. And just like of what we reminded you of last Friday night, the frames should look better by the time that, you know, these drivers do get a little bit more spread out. So don't mind the frames too much here, as we are getting ready to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 42 cars, all 42 of them have rolled off. And there are our top two in the championship standings, of Andrew Miller starting in 42nd. And Avery Alford, second in the points, 41st. So definitely not a good qualifying run for either of our championship contenders coming into this one. But they'll definitely have their work cut out for them as we get ready to do battle for 80 laps of action here in tonight's Brickyard 400. And we're so glad that you could be here with us for our main event, a rare Sunday stream here on Twitch. And who would have thought it? Who would have thought that we would have ourselves a Sunday stream? But you know what? Here we are. It's time. We're getting ready to go, actually. I don't even know what I'm saying, but I'm just excited, man, because Indianapolis has always been such a great racetrack, and we always see a lot of great racing here, especially in previous years with the Indianapolis 100, the Indy 250, Wawa Cup Series action. We had just had the Indiana Bash just a couple of months ago with the Menards Truck Series drivers. The Xfinity Series raced here on Friday, and now here we go for WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series racing from here at Indianapolis. 7 races to go after tonight. Who's gonna get the job done? We're about to find out. Green flag goes in the air with Davis and Blaze bringing them down. In last Friday's race that we had here, the pole sitter managed to get off to a very good start and check out from the field. That was Reagan Whitlock last Friday, but Mercedes Davis not so fortunate, and they're going 3 wide. CG Holt in the 17 almost getting put in the middle, and Janiah Hill, oh boy, 3 wide as they come through turn number 4. They're gonna get it sorted out. And coming down to lead the first lap of action, that's going to be Trinity Anderson in the number 4 machine. CG Holt tucks in the second position. Following in third will be Roberto Crown Jr. Then in 4th will be Salmon Oskin in car number 71. As they race off of turn number 2. Oh boy, a little bit of close calls there. That was Noah Clifton in the 99 that scraped the outside wall as they came off of turn number 2. But we stay green. And I think that might have just spread the field out a little bit as they're kind of strung out. A little bit of double file. But as they race off of turn number 4, Anderson continues to hold on and is also pulled away by at least 2/3 of a second. Crown to the inside of Holt. And CG's going to take that spot away, or at least not CG's. Crown's going to take that spot away. DeFeo moves up to 3rd. Mercedes Davis to 4th. And completing your top 5 currently, that's Alex Sanvitale. Caution on the speedway. Big crash. And that's our championship leader. Andrew Miller has wrecked out of this thing early in the going. Ryan Little just driving away from the accident scene, as is Aaron Abel in the 43. There probably was several other contenders that were involved, but caution is on the speedway. It's Trinity Anderson that brings them back to the flag. DeFeo will cross the line in 2nd. Followed by Crown Davis, Sanvitale, Fox, Holt, Anderson, Oskin, and Skylar Taylor, your top 10. That got big in a hurry. Well, what a shame, though. Andrew Miller comes into this race as the points leader. 12 points ahead of Avery Alford. That car is stuck in 3rd gear. Or rather, 1st. Yeah, he didn't even shift it up into 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th. But that car, you know for a fact, is junk. And our points leader gonna be retiring from this race early in the going here on lap number 4. That is such a shame. There's Aaron Abel, 43. He's got a little bit of damage to the passenger side of his machine, as does Ryan Little in the 27. But race leader Trinity Anderson brings everybody on down. And it looks like it is just going to be quite literally everybody that will be making their way down into the pit lane. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what the strategies are going to look like and what the top 10 will look like after all these drivers get done with their yellow flag pit stops. See which crews are definitely going to have a little bit of an advantage in terms of, you know, which crews are obviously who's going to have the faster times, the faster pit stops here for this weekend. There's Clifton in the 99 with a little bit of right side damage. Remember, he scraped the wall coming off of turn 2 back just a couple of laps ago. And it'll be Michael DeFeo winning the fight out of pit lane. Crown comes out second. Trinity Anderson comes out third. Sam Vitale fourth. Jordan Sumner completes your top 5 coming out of the pits. Then it's Halt, Mercedes Davis, Emily Anderson, Nikki Fox, and then Russell Blaze completing your top 10 coming out of the pits. So with that said, Michael DeFeo looks like he'll be restarting as the leader. So we're going to go back and we're going to attempt it, and hopefully the game doesn't crash. We're going to go back and review what happened that caused that first caution with Andrew Miller that brought out that first caution flag, that first yellow flag of the evening here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And from the looks of things, the good news is that this happened at the back of the field. However, the bad news is that it involved our championship leader. Look at Andrew Miller here in the 96. He's going to dive to the inside of Aaron Abel. And also, they just get into the corner way too hot. They both go up. Abel goes up into Ryan Little, and Andrew Miller goes up into both of them. And up into the outside wall they go. And that is just an absolute tough break for our championship points leader of Andrew Miller here in this 96, who won at Iowa earlier this year. And that's what ultimately gave him an opportunity to run in the championship standings. And, you know, obviously he's had himself a pretty good year. He's had a great year so far in the NOS Energy Cup Series, but unfortunately, this is what's going to put him. This is what's unfortunately going to put him back to square one, as he's obviously not going to be leaving here with the points lead. But the good news is he's definitely going to have a lot of time between now and Kansas Speedway in mid-August to really do a little bit of evaluating before we get back at it at the Kansas Speedway, as we are officially back to live action here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The 16th race of the season for the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series, the Brickyard 400. For those that are just now tuning in, we've just had ourselves our first yellow flag of the night with Andrew Miller, also Ryan Little and Aaron Abel all colliding into one another going into turn number 2. And Andrew Miller, who comes into this race as our championship leader, unfortunately finds himself in the garage area. There you see him right there, 42nd, the only retiree in this race. And we just also had our first pit stops of the night, of the race. So your race leader after all of that is the number 60 of Michael DeFeo, who just came from Indianapolis Raceway Park back from Thursday and managed to cut into Michael Davis's lead in the Truck Series standings. Roberto Crown Jr., so far early in the going here in this race, comes into this race dead last in the point standings on the all the way other side of the points, all the way in the other end of the bracket. And he's running in the second position. The last time that we've seen this 21 go to victory lane was at Michigan. And that was after he and Jerry Rose were kind of duking it out for the lead and what was going to be the win coming to 2 laps to go. And what I didn't realize is that they came back around for the caution because I do believe there was a wreck with 2 laps to go. And that's what ended up giving Crown his first and currently only win of his NOS Energy Cup career, and it's been well over a year since we've seen this 21 go to victory lane. Trinity Anderson in the number 4, running in 3rd. And we have Alexander Vitali running in the 4th position. Jordan Sumner completing your top 5, followed by CG Halt running in the 6th position. Mercedes Davis, who started on the pole in this race, fell back to 7th. Then in 8th is our defending winner of the Brickyard 400, Emily Anderson. In 9th is Nikki Fox, and Russell Blaze completes your top 10. Now, a couple things to also point out here as we might be getting ready to go back under the green flag next time around is we have ourselves the Gamers Talk NASCAR triple threat. If you had watched qualifying yesterday, then you would have seen all 3 cars that are running GTN Gamers Talk NASCAR paint schemes, as we do have 1 to go. We will go green next time around. But Russell Blaze out of the 3 with himself, Wyatt Walker, and Nathan Stapleton. He is running the best out of all of them right now. As you can see, he is currently running in the 10th position in car number 29. Wyatt Walker is not too far back. If we scroll to the next page, to the 11th through 20th standings, he's currently running in 16th, and Nathan Stapleton is just outside of the top 20. There you see him right there in the 26th position. So he gained 10 spots, or at least 9 positions, since the beginning of the race. But my goodness gracious, we get ready to go back to 1 to go here in the Brickyard 400. One other driver to point out, and we talked about him as we were going over our starting lineup, is Kyle Craven in the number 28 machine. Started 31st in this race. He's picked up quite a few positions, 17 spots, currently up to 14th, and he comes in with a lot of pressure on his shoulders. If he does not perform, if he does not pick up the performance here for this season, his ride is pretty much in jeopardy. And who knows, he might lose this ride maybe after this year or maybe even next year, but hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully we do continue to see Kyle Craven in NOS Energy Cup competition. But Russell Blaze, the team owner, putting his foot down on all the basically all the setbacks and all of the shenanigans. You know, for obviously as a team owner, you can only handle it so many times. But the pace car, focusing back in here on the race, is off. And Michael DeFeo is going to lead the field back down to the green flag in car number 60. Here we go. Green goes back into the air, and the top 3 managed to get a good jump here on the restart. Crown, Anderson, Sanvitali, Sumner to the top 5. And the driver with the fastest lap so far in the early stages of this event is Eric Monaco, currently sitting with a 48.271. Out of the inside goes the number 4 of Trinity Anderson, looking to take over that runner-up spot. That's going to allow Michael DeFeo to check out and pull out to at least about 1/3 of a second advantage. But Anderson moving back up into the runner-up spot as they come off of turn number 4. And DeFeo now starting to check out by almost 1/2 a second, with Crown and Anderson continuing to battle it out side by side. Now Anderson's going to clear Crown for the runner-up spot. Sumner moves to 3rd, with CG Halt moving into the 4th position. You know, this has been a fantastic season. Oh, no! And oh, my goodness! The Death Rider Racing cars got together, and into the wall goes Russell Blaze, and Kyle Craven, who we just talked about, goes around. Oh, no! And Ryan Davis just ran into the 29 of Russell Blaze. Second caution is out here at Indianapolis, and DeFeo's gonna bring him down. Man, 2 cautions within the first 10 laps. And one of the GTN cars is involved. Oh, Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. That was not pretty at all. Kyle Craven, we just talked about him a little bit ago. Talking about the pressure that has basically been put on his shoulders, and this, especially with a run-in with his own boss, is definitely not what he needed at all. Ryan Davis, who also got collected in the fiasco with Russell Blaze. Oh, he's not happy at all. I think he's just not happy as he ran into the back of Janiah Hill there. But I can understand Blaze's frustration there, but no need to take it out on an innocent bystander. But we had ourselves a pretty big crash. It started on the back straightaway, carried over into turn 3. Noah Clifton, another contender that was involved in that. Oh my goodness gracious. Wyatt Walker, I think, also got a front row seat for that one as well, as he was right in front of it. But he managed to get by, no issues whatsoever. And everybody else now coming on down into the pit lane to get a little bit more service done to their race machines. But, man, you know, if you are in the position of Russell Blaze, and, you know, obviously, as we had mentioned with him putting his foot down on the lack of performance, the lack thereof of results there from Kyle Craven, you know, you can definitely understand the frustration. But to amplify that, you know, getting into a scuffle with Kyle Craven, the same driver that not only is racing for him, but that he also had a run-in with the championship with, that definitely adds a little bit of salt to the open wound. And Craven in car number 28, you know, at this rate, this is kind of just that Connor Zilich-esque season, as Trey Wright kind of mentioned with Wyatt Walker at Chicagoland for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. And you know, Russell Blaze, this is also unfortunate for him as well. You know, yesterday, speaking of Mission Barbecue Cup competition, he and Wyatt Walker ran so good in that event and could have won it too. But unfortunately here for tonight, Russell Blaze finds himself out of contention, still in the race, but out of contention for sure. But as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, we're going to take a quick look to what happened to Russell Blaze and Kyle Craven and several of our other contenders that put us under caution for the second time here tonight. And it was just, oh my, this is going to be fairly interesting to go over here. But as you're going to see here, getting into turn number 2, this starts in turn 2. Look at the 7 of Janiah Hill trying to cover the spot on Kyle Craven, but Craven's already there. And look at that 7, just absolutely washed up the track, gets into Russell Blaze, bounces off of him, bounces back into Kyle Craven. And at this point, Hill is just in the middle of a Death Rider Racing sandwich, just also trying to save the car. She saves it, gets into the right rear of Craven, and then gets into Blaze in the process. And they're just all trying to save their car. Sebastian Vaughn, an innocent bystander there in the 54 machine. But then Craven washes back up. And Walker, ooh, he might have gotten a little bit of damage there in the number 19 machine. Might have to check on that. But Blaze, top left of your screen, took a hard hit into the inside wall. And also Janiah Hill, her car got turned 90 degrees. And then, as we're going to follow along with Russell Blaze from the aerial view, he tries to get back onto the racetrack, and he stays on the inside, which is actually not a bad thing to do. But what I feel like he should have done here is just take the access road. He comes right back up into the racing line, and Ryan Davis runs right into the back of the 29 and also collects the 99 of Noah Clifton, who just was completely blindsided by the whole situation. That just absolutely, completely boiled over here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and emotions, man, I tell you, in the Death Rider Racing camp are going to be severely high. You know, for Kyle Craven, he's probably going to be upset with Hill. For Hill, she's going to be probably upset at both Blaze and Kyle Craven. For Blaze, he's going to be upset at Craven, and probably Ryan Davis is going to be mad at Russell Blaze. There's just going to be a lot. Think about iRacing, you know, with the in-game lobby, the in-game voice chat. You know, everybody's mad at somebody else, and take a look bottom of your screen. There's the contact from Davis to Blaze, and that's just absolutely so severely unfortunate. And also we mentioned with Wyatt Walker, I mean, who got a front row seat for that. He did get a little bit of damage, but the good news is he should be able to continue on. He was the driver in the number 19 that did deliver that, or at least deliver just probably a mild hit to the number 28 machine, but I don't think the damage should be all that bad to his car. Yeah, that car definitely looks fine. But we are back to live action here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's the 19 of Wyatt Walker, who started off the week pretty strong with a win at the Anderson Speedway for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. Right now currently running mid-pack and catching up to the back of the field. He also saw Kyle Craven. He's going to be able to continue on here in this race, but man, this is kind of that Connor Zilic-esque season right here for the 28 machine, as we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing here soon. And lights are still on the pace car, so we'll go green. We'll definitely take the one to go next time around. Another driver that has also appeared inside of the top 10 first time tonight, as we are closing in on the 1/4 mark of this event. That is Nathan Stapleton in the 97. Hometown hero. He didn't get his week started off all that hot. He wound up getting wrecked out early, or at least wrecked out of contention for a win early at Anderson Speedway. He still managed to run the race. However, he unfortunately just wasn't able to get back on the lead lap. He was on the tail end of one lap down, almost two. But here he is here in this event. He came here also as an owner. Almost watched Kasumi Takashi go to victory lane last Friday. Now here he is as a driver here in the Cup Series and currently running in the 9th position. That pit strategy definitely paying off for Nathan Stapleton in the early stages of this Brickyard 400. Almost 1/4 of the way done. And there you see Blaze 41st right now. And remember, he is top 5 in the championship standings. He is 4th coming in. And this is definitely not the result that he was wanting at all, as he currently runs in the 41st position. Wyatt Walker, we talked about him not too long ago. He is shown 29th. And as we mentioned and had talked about with Nathan Stapleton, he is running 9th. If you're keeping up with the GTN triple threat standings as of right now. One lap, and we should be back to green flag racing next time around. Oh man, what a topsy-turvy start to this Brickyard 400. Not even 20 laps, and we've already worked 2 caution periods. So hopefully we won't have to have another yellow flag for a while, and maybe this thing can play out the rest of the way under green. But that's just, hopefully that's not wishful thinking, but it's starting to feel like it, especially after 2 caution periods. Do apologize there. Kind of having a little bit of a phlegm buildup. We love those. But also nothing new at the same time. But with that said, So we're half a lap away from getting back under green flag racing. It is Michael DeFeo who leads the charge. Trinity Anderson in second. Nikki Fox moves to third. Roberto Crown Jr. in fourth. Sebastian Vaughn rounds out your top five. Then it's Quentin Moore in sixth. Zachary Taylor in seventh. Running in eighth is Eric Monaco. Nathan Stapleton runs ninth. And Skylar Taylor rounds out your top 10. Big news coming out of Skylar Taylor's camp as Skylar Taylor will be leaving Racing Motorsports to form their own team of Silly Thing Racing. And the driver of that car, that single car operation, is going to be Sarah Taylor. So Sarah Taylor will be getting a good opportunity as she'll be moving up to Cup full-time next year. But here we go for the restart. In the Brickyard 400, Michael DeFeo once again brings them back down. Here we go. And DeFeo gets a good jump on the restart. And pulls out by at least a quarter of a second over Trinity Anderson, who's just now getting up to speed as they head towards turn number 2. Zachary Taylor in the 85 almost looked like that he was trying to make something happen. Almost tried to get to the inside of Quentin Moore as they try to go into the second corner. And Nikki Fox in that 32 looking to try to make something happen. She goes to the inside of the 4 of Trinity Anderson. And that might open up the door for Sebastian Vaughn, and it does. Down to the inside goes the 54 to try to take over that 4th position as they head down the front straightaway. And all of that, we're kind of seeing a repeat of what we saw in our second green flag run, if you want to call it one. But Fox now clears Trinity Anderson for second. Vaughn to third, Moore to fourth, and 3 wide coming out of turn number 2. That could get dicey. Well, Stapleton all over the back, all over the left rear quarter panel of the 21. Oh, Stapleton, please get off. Please let him have room. Give him room. Thank you. Oh, he might not here. Oh, he gets into the left rear quarter panel and turns Crown down into the grass, and up in front of the field goes Stapleton. There's the caution. Oh my goodness gracious. You have got to be joking. You have got to be joking. Trinity Anderson, oh my goodness, and working our third caution. Not even a quarter into this race and we're already under caution yet again. And we're already having a stack up. Man, you know, I'm honestly very disappointed with the actions of Nathan Stapleton, and just like that, he is going to be taking that car back to the garage area. Not a good week at all for Nathan Stapleton, but I am honestly very disappointed. Captain, I thought he was going to give Crown room, and it looked like that he did, but as soon as they came out of turn 3, Stapleton was all over the left rear quarter panel of Roberto Crown Jr.'s car, turned him into the grass, and then Stapleton just came right back up in front of the field and then collected Trinity Anderson. Man, that's just a shame. It's honestly very disappointing as well. Very disappointing. But Stapleton out of this one. I believe Terry Walker. I think Terry Walker, yeah, he did pit from that 9th position. But third caution. That is absolutely kind of unbelievable. As Stumner runs right into the back of CG Halt. Definitely not a lot of damage there, but oh my goodness. Definitely not the night that the GTN cars were really looking forward to. But Nathan Stapleton now finds himself into the garage area, and take a look at this. CG Halt's going to win the race coming out of the pits, followed by DeFeo coming out in second. Quentin Moore comes out third. Then it's Vaughn and then Zachary Taylor completing your top 5. And then it will be Nikki Fox, Avery Alford, Jerry Rose, Skep Silver, I do believe, and then Terry Walker may complete your top 10 is with all these drivers coming out of pit lane. But under caution for the 3rd time here tonight, as you see Trinity Anderson, Oskin, and even Abby Walker. With those 3 drivers, they wound up having damage a little bit, I think, from that accident. So let's go back and take a look at it. That wreck, I'm definitely disappointed in Nathan Stapleton for, because that honestly should not have happened. And also, breaking news in terms of this race, Russell Blaze has pulled his car to the garage area. So unfortunately, Blaze is not going to see the finish of this one either. But definitely not, that is definitely not the result that Russell Blaze was looking for either in this one. But take a look at this. Heading into turn number 3. I can understand Nathan Stapleton being frustrated with Kyle Larson going out of the race, but this is not the way that you take out your frustrations. Heading into turn number 3, I thought for a mere moment that Stapleton gave Crown room, and he did here, but he just kept hanging on that left rear quarter panel. And once he saw the hole, he went for it and just washes up the hill ever so slightly. Right about here, gets into the left rear of Roberto Crown Jr. And then at that point, they just start traveling down to the access road. And Crown is able to save it, but Stapleton has too much speed, comes back up, collects Trinity Anderson. I believe Crown just barely managed to get by without any sort of incident. I mean, or at least get by, you know, without any problems at all. But a good job for everybody else to miss the 97 and the 4, and as well as the 21 too. You know, just seeing as, you know, where Crown is at ahead of everybody else, and you know how far off the pace he was, but just unbelievable pictures of what we just witnessed here at the Brickyard, you know, with Stapleton getting into Roberto Crown Jr. here. But just, my goodness, right about here. And that unfortunately took out an innocent bystander in Trinity Anderson in the process. That's just disappointing. Absolutely disappointing of what we just witnessed here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And definitely disappointing from the hometown heroes. We are back to live action from here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 400. We're working our 3rd caution of the event. Russell Blaze, there you see it from the 24th spot, has pulled his car into the garage area. And that's also just such a shame. And out of all the 3 GTN cars, Wyatt Walker is the only one left. So Walker, although he definitely, he got involved in the 2nd caution in some capacity, he's still running on the racetrack, which is good news for him. However, he finds himself, I believe, just outside of the top 30. There you see him in the 36th position. But still in this race regardless. But my goodness. And remember, he comes into this race 29th in the point standing. So our winner from Auto Club this year, just obviously not having a good race here today. It hasn't had a lot of great momentum throughout the summer. But we might see this number 19 back in victory lane at some point before the year closes out. I mean, that's my hope. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that one. But you never quite know. Anything can happen here in the later stages of the NOS Energy Cup Series season. As we get on down to it, I think we might go green next time around. So we're just going to have to wait and see once we get back around to the start-finish line. But right now it is CG Halt in car number 17, who is showing the way here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And in some ways it is poetic, because you look at the paint scheme and you definitely see that he's doing, and that this is the same sponsorship, a similar paint scheme that Kyle Busch drove to victory lane in 2015 and 16 Brickyard 400s in both of those races. And you know, seeing this paint scheme, you know, run here at the Brickyard, man, it definitely means something. It definitely means something here. But get ready to get back at it, potentially. Let's keep an eye on the pace car. Survey says we will go green at next time by. Just while we're here, do want to say hello to Panda. Hopefully you're having yourself a fantastic weekend so far. Phoenix, thank you so much for the lurk. Greatly do appreciate you a lot for that lurk. And hopefully everybody's had a fantastic weekend. And so glad that you could be here with us to wrap up the weekend with WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series racing from the Brickyard. We normally don't go racing here on a Sunday, but this is kind of a rare occurrence that it does happen. But we are getting ready to get back at it here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Once again, do want to apologize for a little bit more of a phlegm buildup. Man, we just love those phlegm buildups a lot. But your top 10, for those that are just now tuning in, we're getting ready for the restart. And it is CG Halt, as we've talked about, leading the charge. Following in the second position is Michael DeFeo. Quentin Moore runs third. Zachary Taylor in the fourth position, with Sebastian Vaughn completing your top 5. Then it's Nicky Fox, Avery Alford, Jerry Rose, Skep Silver, and Terry Walker rounding out your top 10 as we get ready to restart on lap number 20. And hopefully we will be able to go green for a good portion of the race. And hopefully we'll be done with cautions for a while and just at least get a good green flag run in. We're keeping our fingers crossed as CG Halt brings them down for the restart here in the Brickyard 400. It's the 4 cars. Definitely do get a good jump on the restart. Halt took a little bit of a wider entry going through turns 1 and 2. And there goes Zachary Taylor to the inside of Quentin Moore for the third position. Avery Alford, who comes into this race 12 points behind Andrew Miller. Miller got taken out in a crash early in the going. So this will mean Avery Alford in this 23 should have a good opportunity to grab that points lead back as we head into a few weeks off before we get back at it in mid-August at Kansas. But meanwhile, up front, it is CG Halt and Michael DeFeo. They have checked out with Moore in third, Taylor fourth, Alford the top 5, Skep Silver in 6th. And oh boy here, be careful. That's Terry Walker holding up Sebastian Vaughn and Martin Nixon. Holding up both lines practically. But he is running in 7th regardless. And car number 48 is up front. Challenge for the lead is on. There goes Michael DeFeo to the inside to take the lead away from CG Hall. Crashing turn 4. And that was Roberto Crown Jr. Bonsi. Oh, this is a big one. Emily Anderson collected. Claire Phillips. Wyatt Walker involved. All 3 EGI cars were collected. Noah Clifton, Crown, Sumner. Oh my, this was actually a big one. This is a lot bigger than what I would have anticipated. Mercedes Davis collected. And what in the world are we witnessing here at the Brickyard as CG Hall led him back to the caution? This is our 4th one tonight. And I thought we were going to have ourselves a good green flag run, but that unfortunately just isn't the case. Wyatt Walker got involved in another one, and I think he just got more from the stack up as... Oh my goodness. We definitely had a stack up. Abby Walker, a severe amount of damage to her car. Ryan Little, also a little buckle on the hood for Sam Oskin. Same can be said for Janiyah Hill in this number 7. Little bit of rear end damage for Wyatt Walker. Tanner Parton, same case for him. Roberto Crown Jr., who started off this race with a good starting position, unfortunately fell back quite a ways. And unfortunately, this car is going to take yet another hit and fall and just continue to lose touch with the rest of the other drivers in the point standings. More retirees with Sumner, Phillips, Clifton, Bonsignor. Crown will be entering that list, and my goodness gracious, this is definitely a chaotic first quarter of this Brickyard 400, and we're not even halfway done. And definitely going to have more retirees in this one. Is pole sitter Mercedes Davis. I believe, yep, she is done, as is Abby Walker. Emily Anderson will not go back-to-back in the Brickyard 400, and Aaron Abel will also be in the garage area as well. But Michael DeFeo won the race coming out of the pits. And we're going to show you just exactly what happened that caused our 4th yellow flag of the evening here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I want to say hello to you, Pash. Hopefully you're having yourself a fantastic weekend. Hopefully you're continuing to have yourself a fantastic weekend. And we're doing pretty good here with NOS Energy Cup Racing. But so far, the first quarter of the event has been an absolute wreckfest. And we're getting ready to show you exactly what brought out our 4th caution to conclude the 1/4 mark of this Brickyard 400. That has just been nothing short of chaotic. And this, ladies and gentlemen, once again, 3 wide has just been the talk of the town here in this event. But look at Alex Sanvitali, car number 69. Gonna try to get to the inside of both Rose and Crown. That puts Crown for the 2nd time. He's been in the middle of a 3 wide situation. And unfortunately, this is going to be the one that knocks him out of the event. As they come out of turn 3 and head down the short straight, Sanvitali gets into the left rear of Crown, tries to stay off of him, but then tries to get back in line. And this is kind of a repeat of what we saw with Crown and Nathan Stapleton. But this time, this is going to be the one that sends Crown to the garage area as he goes sideways in front of the field, collides with the turn 4 wall. Then he ricochets back down into Stephen Walker, who gets collected in that one, as does Alex Bonsignor, Emily Anderson, Sumner with nowhere to go. And then here comes more of the pack. Aaron Abel, right-hand side of your screen. He's gonna collide with Alex Bonsignor. No, he doesn't, actually. It's gonna be Rogel Dorn that basically doesn't give Abel anywhere to go, so he unfortunately has no choice but to hit the 89. Janiyah Hill, there's Wyatt Walker on the left-hand side of your screen. And My goodness. Tanner Parton, 5th in points going around. But look at this. All 3 EGI cars involved in this fiasco. And Emily Anderson in the Mountain Dew colors. She won this event last year. Unfortunately, not going to see victory lane here this year, as her car is now officially in the garage area. And my goodness gracious, the only conclusion that you can really draw here is that we're just being way, way, way too aggressive. Man, hard hit for Jordan Sumner as well. Oh my goodness, another one. I didn't even realize that she took 2 hard hits coming out of turn number 4. One with the outside wall and then another one when Aaron Abel collided into her. But then we had a stack up. See if we can find it here, at least find the source of the stack up. We're going to follow along with Abby Walker because she was definitely one of the first ones that I noticed that had a severe amount of damage. And I do believe it was because of that stack up right here. Oh yeah, right here with Craven and Dorn, and just look at that. As Davis, Walker, Little, Oskin, they all just pile right in behind Mercedes Davis. That is just absolutely unfortunate. But sadly, Abby Walker's not going to see victory lane here tonight. Nor will Mercedes Davis, who started on the pole here for this race. So you see that Monster Energy machine just absolutely all crunched up on the front end. But with several more retirees coming out of that one, as we are going to be heading back to live action here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, working our 4th caution flag of the afternoon, of the evening, here at the Brickyard. And we're not even, and another thing is that we hit the 1/4 mark and we have our 4th caution period, our 4th caution flag at that. But we're definitely going to see more retirees, though, that's for sure. But just absolutely, it's kind of weird because we're running this race at 104%, and the Xfinity race did pretty good on 104%, and we only had 1 caution. Had some really good racing to close out to basically kind of round out the event last Friday. But unfortunately, for the Cup guys, you can attribute to frames, because frames could have something to do with it as well. But regardless of that, just seen a lot of hard racing way, way, way too early in this event. But there you see more of the retirees. We're going to have ourselves a lot less cars on track. Obviously, Mercedes Davis, who's currently scored a 9th as of right now, but she'll get kicked out of that spot here shortly, as will Crown. As they continue to fall down the running order. They'll be slotted in with the other drivers that got knocked out from that crash in turn number 4 that started with Crown. With Abby Walker, Jordan Sumner, Claire Phillips. Those drivers, unfortunately, will not be going to victory lane. Neither will Emily Anderson. She will not go back-to-back in the Brickyard 400. But, my oh my. My oh my is all I've got to say there. Because, again, it's just wild that we're not even halfway and we've already had 4 caution flags here in this event. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable of what we're seeing here at the Brickyard. I mean, you know, last year we only had 1 yellow flag, and then the rest of the race played out pretty safely, if that. But here we are this year, and already 4 cautions, several big crashes, and a lot of our contenders, unfortunately, have been taken out of the running order, but we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing from here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're going to be restarting with 30 cars left on the racetrack. All of them are left on the lead lap, so that's the good news. So from 31st on down to 42nd are all out of the event. And if you're keeping track with all of the GTN triple threat, the only one that you can really root for is Wyatt Walker, and there he is. In there with 5th place in points, Tanner Parton. Right behind him is Steven Walker in the 24, who comes in 7th in the points. And Samet Oskin in the number 71, who came from IRP from Thursday, currently running in the 28th position. So he is the only GTN driver running on the racetrack. And this has just been an absolutely topsy-turvy Brickyard 400, but it's definitely caused a lot of chaos, especially in the running order. Your top 10 looks like this as we get ready to restart this event, with Michael DeFeo still leading the charge. Martin Nixon looking for his 2nd win of the season, 3rd of his career here in the NOS Energy Cup Series. He runs in 2nd in car number 2. Then it's Zachary Fitzwater trying to rebound in the point standings. He's 3rd. CG Hall is in 4th. Skylar Taylor looking to try to go for win number 3 on the season. And back-to-back here in the NOS Energy Cup Series, they run inside of the top 5, followed by Quentin Moore in 6th, Skep Silver in 7th. Then in 8th is Zachary Taylor, Terry Walker in 9th, and Avery Alford, who more than likely is going to run away with the points lead after tonight. They complete your top 10. How about a great run tonight for Joshua Neely in the number 26. Started this race 24th, fell back a little ways, and now here he is running in the 11th position. He competed last Friday in the Xfinity Series event and managed to take home a top 10 finish, so who knows, could probably replicate that same result here tonight as they get ready for the restart. Kyle Craven, if you're keeping track of the Death Rider racing cars, obviously Blaze is out of the event. We touched on Neely currently running in 11th, and Stephen Walker 29th, and then Kyle Craven currently running 22nd. Here we go. Green flag goes back in the air with DeFeo, Nixon, Fitzy, Halt, and Taylor, the top 5. Fitzy looking to the inside, or at least attempting to, on the number 2 of Martin Nixon, but Nixon has got plans of his own. He tried to look to the inside, going through turn 2, not going to get it there, but he'll definitely try down the back straightaway. He draws the nose to the left rear quarter panel of the 6C as they head into the 3rd corner, and that will put Martin Nixon dead even with Michael DeFeo as they head through turn 4. CG Hall is looking to follow in the number 17. Making sure we're still clean and green back there, and looks like that is the case. But everything getting racy up here at the front with Martin Nixon now leading a lap here in the Brickyard 400. CG Holt looking to try to get his first win of the season. Still running in that 2nd spot, and the Light Star Racing co-cars, they were rubbing doors as they came off of turn number 2. That's Andrew Ramsey. In the YouTube machine, the Xbox colors, that's Jerry Rose. They kind of got together there coming out of turn 2, but they keep it clean, at least for now. Neely moving up inside of the top 10 in car number 26. Please do not make it 3 wide, Joshua Neely. Kind of thought about it as they came out of turn number 4, but he'll think better of it and stay behind the points leader of Avery Alford, who moves up into the 4th position, or moves into 5th rather. Neely continuing to pick up positions there in car number 26. And as that's happening, there goes the 04. And oh boy, Skep Silver almost thought about making it 3 wide underneath of Skylar Taylor and Joshua Neely, but thank goodness a little bit of common sense came into play. But up front, Halt continues to hang on to second, but not if Quentin Moore's going to have anything to say about it as they head back into turn 1. Moore side by side with CG Halt, and here goes Zachary Taylor to the inside, rubbing doors with CG down off of turn number 2. And if you see the cars flashing every so often, that's usually kind of unfortunately another thing that happens with the frames kind of dropping ever so often. But as the cars start to spread out a little bit more, and if we go long enough into the race and see green flag pit stops, hopefully that does resolve itself. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that one. So, but Quentin Moore looking to try to get his first win of the year. Now moves up into second, right behind Martin Nixon, whom I do believe is the only part-time driver here to go to victory lane this season in the NOS Energy Cup Series. Moore all over the back bumper of Martin Nixon as they head off of turn number 2. Zachary Taylor there sitting in third, Avery Alford in fourth. Alford still looking to try to get his first win of the season and of his career for Trinity River Racing, whom I do believe are closing their doors here in WRLA competition at season's end. But they are looking to try to finish out the year strong, and who knows, Avery Alford, I mean anybody could potentially buy out the team, if anything, in order to keep the doors open for this team. It's Avery Alford, and I would definitely personally love to see Avery Alford come back to WRLA competition because, you know, kind of had an up and down sort of start to the season, but ever since then, consistency, and I really noticed it, especially at Chicagoland, that consistency and that speed that this 23 team had showed all season long leading up to this point has been absolutely incredible. And ultimately is what put him inside of the top 5 in the point standings, and is still, if things kind of play out the way that they are right now, especially after green flag pit stops, hopefully we do see Avery Alford back in a cup car in 2027. Ooh, steps over to the inside of Quentin Moore. As they head off of turn number 1 down the short straight. Skep Silver's actually been running pretty well here in this event, currently running in the 4th position as of right now. CG Halt and Quentin Moore duking it out for the top 5. And here's Bobby McGuire in car number 18. He's also looking to try to get his first win of the season. We should be seeing this team come back next year, and hopefully with a little bit more speed under the hood and a little bit more confidence as the year winds down and as we get more laps. Bobby McGuire, of course, definitely shows a lot of that demeanor, definitely a lot of that confidence every time we show up to the racetrack. And so far, that confidence is really showing itself here tonight as McGuire moves up into the 6th position. Finished top 5 in the Daytona 500 to kick off the year. This team's kind of had a little bit of an up and down sort of season. Hasn't seen quite the amount of success of victory lane as Janiah Hill saw at Ricky Raceway to kick off the month of May. But McGuire has been absolutely consistent all year long. And he's kind of been juggling around the top 15, top 20 area in the point standings. But if things kind of play out the way they do, as we were talking about with Avery Alford, who knows, after tonight, we could see McGuire back into the top 10 in the point standings, a spot that he hasn't been in since the beginning of the year. We could see that here tonight. Another thing that we could see for next year is Joshua Neely go full-time in Cup competition in 2027. I mean, look at where he's at right now, running in the 7th position. He did get the organization's, the Death Rider Racing team their first win, their first ever win in WRLA racing in the Xfinity Series at Minnesota in February, as we touched on several times. But there's definitely a good chance that we could see Neely go full-time next year. We'll definitely have to get a little bit more word from Russell Blaze in that department as we get a little bit closer to season's end and closer to the 2027 season. But so far here in this race, he finished 13th at Mosport, got credited with 13th. He missed the race last week at Nashville, and now here he is running inside of the top 10, exactly where Blaze had kind of hoped and expected him to run. Right now running in 7th and now going for 6th on CG Halt as they come out of turn number 4. Skep Silver has wrestled by Zachary Taylor for 2nd and now sets his sights on Martin Nixon for the lead, heading back into turn number 1. Silver also flexing his muscles as we close in on the halfway mark of this event. Neely now with the fastest lap of the race of 48.186. So that's definitely a very good time out of the number 26 car. And if possible, we could see Joshua Neely go to victory lane here tonight. I mean, with the speed that this car has seen, it is very possible. The last time that we looked at, hold on, let me start that over. The last time that we witnessed a 26 car go to victory lane in a points paying race was with Daniel Voiles at Michigan in 2020. So it has been a long time since we've seen the 26 go to victory lane in a points-paying event for the NOS Energy Cup Series. Of course, we've seen Josiah Munsell, when he drove the 26 last year, go to victory lane in the duels at Daytona to set the starting lineup for the Daytona 500, but those are non-points-paying races. Those are exhibition events. But as far as a points-paying race, it could happen tonight with Joshua Neely. A little bit of contact there with Nixon as he just lost the lead to Skep Silver. And Taylor goes right on by for the runner-up spot. Move Martin Nixon back to 3rd. And Bobby McGuire, car number 18, to the inside of who more than likely is going to be our points leader, Avery Alford. As Terry Walker, how about this for the Walker Family Motorsports Camp? Although Wyatt kind of bummed that he's not running up here with the leaders, he's definitely got to be happy to know that 2 of his cars are inside of the top 10 and running kind of running with one another right now, with Walker, Terry that is, in 5th and CG Halt in 6th, trying to clear Avery Alford for that position. But Alford's going to slide up and also kind of fall back quite a ways as he had a little bit of a wider entry heading through turn number 4. Lap traffic could also be a potential possibility here sooner rather than later. As up front, Zachary Taylor. You know, we have a couple hometown heroes here for this race. Nathan Sampson unfortunately went out of this one a little bit earlier in the going. But we do have another one in Zachary Taylor in car number 85, who came off of a runner-up finish last week at Nashville. And now here he is yet again, currently running in the 2nd spot and hunting down the 57 of Skep Silver for the lead. And we'll take a look and see who we're having to deal with here in terms of lap traffic in just a little bit, because down to the inside goes Zachary Taylor for the top spot and easily gets by the 57. New race leader, it's Zachary Taylor in the 85. Just up ahead of these guys is Stephen Walker in the 24 with a missing right front fender and all. But definitely off the pace as he heads down into turn 4. And here we go again. Silver right back down to the inside to retake the lead. And is going to grab it back from the 85 of Zachary Taylor. That was a little short-lived. That was a short-lived lead there for the 85, but I would definitely have to expect a crossover move coming up here shortly. But Bobby McGuire is going to easily get to the inside of Zachary Taylor as they head off of into the short straight back into turn 1, or turn 2 rather. Man, I would only say turn 1 if we were going backwards here, but obviously that's not the case. But Skep Silver retakes the lead with Bobby McGuire now moving into second. Terry Walker in third. We know Stephen Walker's coming to this team next year, replacing CG Holt, who is swapping rides with Stephen Walker to go to Death Rider Racing. And you might have noticed a couple cars already went to pit road, one of which I think was Rogel Dorn. Tanner Parton is coming on in as we are halfway through this Brickyard 400. 39 laps of racing to go. Davis and Trinity Anderson, they make their move into the pits. So here we go with pit strategy here on lap number 41, or at least on lap 42. So this is actually going to get pretty interesting. See who comes on in. I believe Skep Silver, McGuire's coming on in. The Walker Family Motorsports cars of Walker and also CG Holt are all in. Pretty much everybody amongst this lead pack is coming on in. There's Wyatt. And oh, be careful. Don't run right into the back of Val Moscow. And Kyle Craven is in along with Janiyah Hill. But lots of changing around in the running order. Lots of changes in the running order. It's like Sam and Oskin gonna beat everybody out of the pits there. Tanner Parton, the 07. I believe he already made his pit stop. Either that or he probably might be staying out. I would definitely have to believe that he already came in and got his service in. There's Wyatt Walker in the number 19. He's coming out with Kyle Craven in the 28. And that tubby machine is absolutely beaten up. But still absolutely trucking along. And oh boy, this is actually going to be pretty interesting as Skep Silver does. Oh, caution on the speedway. Caution on the racetrack. Oh, wrecking turn going into 3. That's Sebastian Vaughn around in the infield. Vaughn must have gotten turned in the infield, raced back to the line. That's going to be won by Skep Silver. Terry Walker had a pretty good charge there. Getting ready to make the pass on Skep Silver for the top spot, but caution on the speedway for the 5th time tonight. It flies on lap 44. And man, oh man, Sebastian Vaughn. So far, it looked like it was just a 1-car spin down into the infield grass heading into turn 3 for the 54 machine. So Vaughn brings his car into the pits. But I think at that point we had just wrapped up our first round of green flag pit stops. So yay, we got green flag pit stops in. Thank the Lord for that. And we also had a pretty good green flag run in as well. At least the longest that we'd gone, it was about 20 laps. So actually not too bad of a run there. But we are past the halfway mark in this Brickyard 400. Everybody already went ahead and made their pit stops. Looks like Zachary Taylor in the 85 is actually going to break off and come on into the pit area. I believe he might have already made his pit stop. Tanner Parton and also Andrew Ramsey are coming on in. And several of our other contenders that already have damage, they are making their way into the pits. Vaughn is exiting. But our 5th caution of the night here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's go back and review what happened to the 54 of Sebastian Vaughn that brought out our most recent yellow flag, our 5th one of the night. It definitely saw him turn down into the infield. Oh boy, this is actually kind of interesting. Definitely an interesting turn of events here, and I don't even know if we caught it in the background, but take a look at Sebastian Vaughn. This is just as he got done with his green flag pit stops, and in the background, you see the 67 of Andrew Ramsey, but watch this. As they work their way down the back straightaway, trying to climb through the gears, looks like Ramsey, I think Vaughn, oh boy, this is very interesting. Ramsey comes down and gets into the 54, and they just go up the racetrack and into the outside wall, and around goes the 54. So that's why we saw Ramsey make another trip into the pits. He had some heavy right side damage, and Sebastian Vaughn goes around in the infield grass on the back straightaway. So troubles for Sebastian Vaughn, who has had himself a fantastic season thus far. Definitely a lot better than what he had last year. But as we're going to take a look at it from this angle, it looked like that Vaughn actually, yeah, Vaughn kind of came up a little bit just as Ramsey came down. And man, that definitely was not anything that Sebastian Vaughn or Andrew Ramsey would have wanted. But the good news is both drivers are able to continue on. Vaughn didn't get a whole lot of damage, so they probably got that already assessed, and he is, as we talked about, back out onto the racetrack. Probably going to be on the tail end of the lead lap, if anything. But we are currently working our 5th caution of the afternoon, of the evening, here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Want to say thank you, Pash, for that 20 stream streak. Definitely put some clothes on. But thank you for that 20 stream streak, Pash. We really do appreciate you. And man, nonetheless, focusing back in here with 36 laps to go in the Brickyard 400. Skep Silver leading the charge in car number 57. With the 48 of Terry Walker in second, Joshua Neely still holding on to that fastest lap. Again, with that 186, everybody in that 48 second bracket. He's third after Zachary Taylor made the move back into the pit lane. Holt in fourth, Avery Alford fifth, Quentin Moore in sixth, Rogel Dorn seventh. A good day for the Durrani racing cars. Maybe not for Alex Sanvitali, but definitely for Quentin Moore and Rogel Dorn. Eric Monaco running in 8th. Martin Nixon slides back to 9th. And the 32 of Nikki Fox rounds out your top 10. Closing in on 35 laps to go in the 2026 Brickyard 400 for the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series. For those that are just now tuning in, we're working our 5th caution for Sebastian Vaughn and Andrew Ramsey, who got together down the back straightaway. Thankfully, it was only just a 1-car spin. Both drivers hit each other and then went up into the outside wall, but Sebastian Vaughn spun it down to the inside, into the infield grass on the back straightaway, before refiring his car and getting it back out on the racetrack. There he is, along with Andrew Ramsey. Both drivers are going to be at the tail end of the field, as you see, but still, I would have to believe on the lead lap, if anything. We also have a GTN triple threat, and the only one that is left running on the track is Wyatt Walker. As you take a look down the running order, Russell Blaze and Nathan Stapleton, unfortunately, they have taken their cars behind the wall, with Russell Blaze in 40th, and you'll see Nathan Stapleton there in that 41st position. Now, where's Wyatt Walker, you ask? Well, we're going to have to go all the way over here, not too far away from Vaughn and Ramsey, as he's currently running 20th on the track as of right now. So it's kind of turned into, you know, not just a night of survival here for Wyatt Walker, but he's definitely picking up a lot of spots left and right from several drivers, you know, definitely getting the worst end of the stick, you know, in terms of, you know, the wrecks that we've seen, you know, throughout this race. But Wyatt Walker still holding his own, definitely hanging on inside of the top 20. Kyle Craven, and this is actually kind of unfortunate that we have to point him out here, because we talked about Craven and the pressure that's on his shoulders, because for those that are just now coming in, Kyle Craven is kind of in this it's time to pick up the performance kind of deal, because Russell Blaze had put his foot down on all of the adversity that Craven has had to deal with. And, you know, obviously, if you are a team owner and you see your driver absolutely struggling and absolutely, you know, constantly not delivering all those results left and right, and just having to deal with, again, with all that adversity from the wrecks and the mechanical failures and just the poor performances on pit road and whatnot, and even on track, you can only tolerate that for so long. And Blaze definitely sort of reached his breaking point. He's put his foot down and saying that you definitely better pick up the performances. And unfortunately, not too long after I brought that up, he and Russell Blaze got into a little scuffle with Janiah Hill, who had been in the middle of Craven and Blaze, and they kind of just pinballed off of one another, and both Craven and Blaze got involved in a wreck on the back straightaway. Blaze ended up getting punted by Ryan Davis in the process, and that is what unfortunately took him out of the race. But Craven still running in this thing with that beaten up W machine in 19th. So as we get ready to restart this event, Skep Silver for Vision Motorsports leads the field. You know, Skep Silver has also had his fair share of races that he could have and maybe should have won, but he's been pretty quiet for this Vision Motorsports team. This is the third entry for the organization, and they have actually been, I mean, this team kind of, it took a little while for them to find their footing, but man, they have been consistent, and they found themselves in the right places at the right times to get the points that they've needed to stay within the conversation. And here we go in this event. Skep Silver looking to try to get his first win of his NOS Energy Cup career as he brings them back down for the restart. Terry Walker and Joshua Neely get a good jump on that restart as well. They check out from CG Hall by just at least a quarter, or at least almost 0.2 of a second, 1/10.5 if anything. They bunch right back up together as they head down the back straightaway. And Terry Walker, I wonder if he's going to have a little bit of a move prepared heading into turn 3. He definitely did not execute it. Joshua Neely's going to beat him to the punch. He goes to the inside of the 48. But Walker with the great run on corner exit, he'll retain. He will retain that runner-up spot as they race off of turn 4 and down the front straightaway, back into a single file formation. CG Hall, car 17, also had himself a great run here and a great day here today. He just coming into this race, he moved up into the top 10 in the points standings. Terry Walker also moved a little bit further back up in the points as well. The lowest that he had been was just outside of the top 10, at least as low as inside of the top 15 in points, almost top 20. Oh boy, and further in the back, Martin Nixon almost kind of bulldozing his way to the inside of Eric Monaco, who also moved up to 4th in the standings, or at least top 5. I think he's 3rd in the points coming into this one, but Monaco, our Martinsville winner's definitely been having himself a good run. But Joshua Neely, man, he is definitely probably going to be the new talk of the town here for this weekend. Neely also ran the Hoosier Summer Tour race at Anderson Speedway. He had himself a good run there. Ran the Xfinity race last Friday. Took home another great top 10 performance. And now here he is in the NOS Energy Cup Series in his second start with Death Rider Racing in this number 26. Now with an opportunity to go after Skep Silver for the lead and what may potentially be the win here in the Brickyard 400. How historic and how big of a deal would it be if you're somebody like Joshua Neely, who got the opportunity of a lifetime to come race in the Cup Series for Russell Blaze and Death Rider Racing, another team that just started at the tail end of the just in the off season last year. But Neely got his first win in WRLA, his first Xfinity win at Minnesota. We touched on that earlier. And also on top of that, got the call from Russell Blaze to drive the number 26, Eric Blaze. Definitely taking a back seat in that department. And Blaze was determined to see this car perform. Finished 13th at Mosport, got credited with 13th. He missed last week, and coming into this race, performing absolutely spectacular as new race leader. You just saw the pass for the top spot. It is Joshua Neely in car number 26, now trying to go to victory lane for the first time in WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series history. But as I was getting ready to ask, how absolutely amazing would it be if your first NOS Energy Cup Series win was in a crown jewel race in the Brickyard 400, a place that is ingrained in racing history, not just with IndyCar, but also with NASCAR as well, and anything else that you could think of, even Formula One when they raced here for several years in the early to mid 2000s. But as far as WRLA competition, this would be absolutely amazing if this 26 went to victory lane. Again, the last driver to take this car, this number 26 to victory lane, was Daniel Boyles in 2020 at Michigan in a very awesome 3-wide finish there. If you haven't seen that, I would definitely recommend you go back and watch it. I believe that would be, if I remember correctly, the Wilson Security 400. I believe that would be the 9th race of the season for the NOS Energy Cup Series. And there goes Quentin Moore to the inside for the second spot. That's going to allow Neely to pull away. And now Quentin Moore with the fastest lap of the race, 48.061, tying with Avery Alford. So those two cars are definitely flexing their muscles late in the going. 27 laps to go, coming to 26. Silver looking to try to take the second spot right back from Quentin Moore. Alford looking to follow as well, as is Martin Nixon. And they almost made a 3-wide there. How about Rogel Dorn in the 86? Appearing inside of the top 10 for the first time here tonight. Currently running in 7th. And things are getting absolutely crazy here for this top 10 spot, or at least inside of the top 10, to close out this Brickyard 400, at least getting ready to wind down. And look at the gap that Joshua Neely has now built up. It is almost a 0.7 of a second lead over Skep Silver. And now here comes Avery Alford to the inside for that runner-up spot. Terry Walker to the inside. That would be the battle for the 4th position. So far, Walker has it. And oh boy, Terry, please don't even think about making it 3 wide. Walker moves up to 3rd. Avery Alford to 2nd. Rogel Dorn is moved up into 4th, and CG Holt coming back as he contests Skep Silver for that 5th position. But they're all bunched up here in this lead group. 24 laps of racing to go in the Brickyard 400. Neely currently has a 2/3 of a second lead over Avery Alford, but there goes Terry Walker to the inside to try to grab that runner-up spot. Right back away from the 23. Rogel Dorn trying to get his 2nd win of the year, 3rd of his career. He won at Texas World earlier this season. Looking to try to get his 2nd win of the year here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Currently up into the 4th position. Almost tried to take it away from the 23 of Avery Alford. Walker cuts into that lead by now a half a second. But Neely trying to pull away and trying to get his first career NOS Energy Cup Series win in only his 2nd start. The last time that we've seen a performance like Joshua Neely's, if things kind of play out the way that they do, it would be since Wayne Lopez in the then WRLA McDonald's Series, when Wayne Lopez won in his then McDonald's Series debut at Watkins Glen. So that would be absolutely spectacular if Neely were to pull off a similar performance to that. Coming around to 22 laps to go, and further up ahead is Sebastian Vaughn in the 54. But things, man, you know, we only had 5 cautions here in this event. But man, if this thing stays green the rest of the way, man, this finish, I mean, it might be worth it here because we're getting our money's worth. The Walker family motorsports cars are going after one another for that 3rd position. Holt trying to take it away from Terry Walker, but that might open up the door for Eric Monaco to drive to the inside of the 48 as they head into turn 3, and that it does. Now down to the inside of the 48 of Walker, heading back through turn 4. 21 laps to go. A quarter of a second now is the difference between Neely and Alford. There's definitely a good chance Avery Alford is going to leave here with the points lead. The chances of that actually happening are rather high. Let me rephrase that. CG Holt definitely having himself a great run here tonight. Monaco to the inside for that 3rd position as they head down into the 3rd corner. But Alford has run down Joshua Neely for the race lead. It's now down to about 0.2 of a second. And oh boy, actually, wait a minute. Oh my, this is gonna get interesting. Looks like I think I might have underestimated this. We might have one more round of green flag pit stops. I just saw Rogel Dorn make the trip into the pit lane. So far, is the only one that has made the trip onto pit road. But this is actually gonna get interesting here with now coming to 19 laps to go in the Brickyard 400 from here, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. To cap off what has been an amazing week of racing here in the state of Indiana. And more cars coming on down pit lane. Nicky Fox, followed by Martin Nixon, Alex Sanvitali, Skylar Taylor, Moore, McGuire, Taylor, Zachary Taylor, that is, Ramsey, Craven, and as well as Janiah Hill are all coming on in. They have worked their way around Sebastian Vaughn, who has not held up any of the leaders with the exception now of Eric Monaco. Now they get to the inside of the 54s. They head down the back straightaway going into the third corner. We'll see exactly what the strategies look like in terms of the race leaders as they come around this time by. Looks like Neely is going to bring him on down to pit lane. Followed by Alfred, Monaco, Holt, Silver, Rose, Terry Walker, Rogeldorn. He was the first one to pit. He definitely goes right on by. He rockets around everybody else. So now the question is, will that undercut strategy that Rogeldorn have pay off and give him that race lead? We're about to find out. We're going to follow along with him. He works his way down the back straightaway. So far, Rogeldorn finds himself 28th. He's the first car one lap down. Zachary Fitzwater now. Oh boy, close call there between Nicky Fox and Martin Nixon. But Fitzy, he's in the pits. Joshua Neely. Right now, he's cycled back up to the lead. Let's see if that's going to prove to be the case still, as he's down the access road on the apron in turn 2 now. And as they head down the back straightaway, there's Nixon and Fox. They're side by side. And they get by the upmerging CG Halt perfectly fine. So, with now 17 laps of racing to go, here at the Brickyard, your race leader. The lead cycles back into the hands of Joshua Neely, followed by Avery Alford in second, Eric Monaco third, Martin Nixon in fourth, Nicky Fox completes your top 5. Then it's CG Holt in 6th, Jerry Rose in 7th, Terry Walker runs 8th, Skylar Taylor 9th, and Alex Sanvitali rounds out your top 10. As Neely manages to pull out to yet another 0.4 of a second advantage over the 23 of Avery Alford. Alford just starting to reel in Neely by just a little bit more. Stephen Walker, Joshua Neely's teammate, is just up ahead, making his way into turn 2 now. And this would be a story of its own if Joshua Neely finds victory lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I would just be in complete and utter shock. I think Russell Blaze, regardless of the result here for tonight, even if he doesn't win this race, he'll still take home a top 10 regardless. But man, this would be such a sweet, sweet night for Death Rider Racing if Neely is able to hang on and hold off Avery Alford, who 100% is going to leave with the points advantage. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, after tonight, the WRLA will be off for a few weeks, with the exception of the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour, which will go racing this coming Saturday night at the Stafford Motor Speedway for the penultimate race. As you see Neely and Alford, they're going to get by Stephen Walker without a problem. But the next time you'll see the NOS Energy Cup Series will be on August 15th at the Kansas Speedway. So the Cup Series and also the Xfinity Series will be racing on the 14th That'll be on a Friday. But it'll be the first time in 3 years that WRLA has visited Kansas. And here we go. Challenge for the lead is on. There goes Avery Alford to the inside of Neely for the top spot as they come off of turn number 1 back into turn 2. And Alford takes the top spot from Joshua Neely here at Indianapolis. Oh, but look at Neely with the crossover. Heading into turn number 3. Doesn't quite get it there, but that puts the 23 in a very bad spot. And as Neely retakes the top spot, this is also enabling Monaco, Nixon, and Fox to catch up to the front 2. And this will become a 5-horse race for the lead and what will more than likely be for the win with now 13 laps to go. All 5 cars single file as they head down the back straightaway. Who's going to break out and make a move? Looks like that's going to be Eric Monaco as he works his way to the inside. Or at least try to get to the bottom underneath of the 23 of Alford. He wasn't quite able to make that move work heading into turn 3, but that definitely messed up Martin Nixon there. But things are definitely getting pretty antsy here. 12 laps to go. Alford watching. We're just watching and waiting to see if Avery Alford is going to make a move or if Eric Monaco is looking to try to beat this 23 to the punch and making some pass. If that happens, that probably would allow Joshua Neely to check out by a little bit. And it looks like Monaco's going to try it going into turn number 3. And this time, he pulls up alongside the 23 of Alford, side by side for second. This will have to force Avery Alford to give up the spot, or will he? As Alford fights back around the outside. This is allowing Neely to pull away by a half a second. Nixon looking to make it 3 wide. They're still side by side, and they were able to get out of that fairly safely. But Martin Nixon now moves up into the runner-up spot and trying to get his second win of the season by going after that number 26 of Joshua Neely. Coming down to it. 10 laps of racing to go. And 10 laps away for what may potentially be the first career NOS Energy Cup Series win for Joshua Neely. He currently leads Martin Nixon by about a half a second, but Nixon is slowly reeling him in. And also, you got Eric Monaco not too far back there, and Jerry Rose. How about this for him as he's up into the 6th position? What a great run for Jerry Rose in the 00 for Light Star Racing Co. We know for sure that this team is coming back for the 2027 season with Ramsey, and I would have to believe Jerry Rose is also going to be amongst that driver lineup as well for the 2-car tango. But up front, Neely reels him in by another 10th. Almost a third of a second between himself and Joshua Neely. Monaco in 3rd, followed by Alford, who's tucked in that 4th position. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, for those 10 bonus points that a driver would get if they were to win, if a part-timer wins, remember those 10 bonus points go to the highest finishing full-time driver. So far, Eric Monaco is in prime position to get those 10 bonus points. Doesn't even matter if he passes Martin Nixon. But I'm willing to bet you that Monaco, even if he does collect those 10 bonus points, for being the highest finishing full-time contender. He definitely wants to win this race, as he also reels in Martin Nixon by just a little bit more. 8 laps to go. Avery Alford sitting comfortably in that 4th position. And actually that 31 of Monaco looking to try to make something happen as they come off of 4th. Nose has kind of peeked out to the inside a little bit on Martin Nixon. But Monaco makes something happen. He's going to try it going into turn 1. Down to the inside goes Eric Monaco. He's trying to get his 2nd win of the season. He won at Martinsville earlier in the year in April, and Avery Alford will be on through to the 3rd position if he can get by this 2 of Nixon. They're side by side for 3rd. But Alford edges ahead going into turn number 3. 6 laps of racing to go when they cross the start-finish line this time around. But how about this? Monaco up to 2nd. You know, Powerhouse Crown Racing has been strong in their own respective regards, with Eric Monaco, who has been quiet all throughout last year in his rookie campaign. It was pretty consistent that year as well. But also on top of that, this year has also been even better. Obviously, with the win that he got at Martinsville, as we touched on a little bit ago. And now here we are at this juncture of the season, closing in on 7 races to go after tonight. And to conclude this one, he could get his 2nd win of the season. But he's got to get by Joshua Neely, who has been almost flawless all race long. 5 laps to go. They're also closing in on a good amount of cars, starting off with Sebastian Vaughn in the 54. It's surprising to me that he's more off the pace than Sam Oskin or even Ryan Little. And Little doesn't even have a nose on that thing. It's just a modified. But he's definitely getting all the cool air in the world, that's for sure. Monaco on the back bumper of Neely. As they head into turn number 3, they close in on Sebastian Vaughn. And Vaughn, you're going to be in the racing line, but there's enough distance between him and the 26 to where Neely is going to be able to get to the inside without a problem. Same goes for all the rest of our other lead lap contenders. And here goes Monaco. He's going to try to make something happen to the inside. He tried it. He didn't quite get that pass off. He at least didn't even get to... He almost got to the left rear quarter panel of Joshua Neely. But at this point, all that Neely would have to hope for at this point is for Avery Alford to close in and try to pass this number 31, but that may not happen. Here goes Eric Monaco to the inside for the lead. Coming to 3 laps to go, and now here comes Alford and Martin Nixon. Oh, but Neely trying to hang on around the outside. Martin Nixon jumps up to the top. But they're coming up on the slower traffic of Little and Oskin. 3 to go. Neely leads that lap from the outside. And here goes Alford to make it 3 wide. That absolutely messed up Neely there as he falls out of contention. But Avery Alford goes to the lead. Monaco unshaken from that as he's in the 2nd position, and 3 part-time contenders all under a blanket. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Doesn't matter which order you put them in. And they are behind the full-time contenders. They come to 2 laps of racing to go from here at Indianapolis. Alford leads it with Monaco right there in second. Nixon to the inside of Joshua Neely, who falls back, and he will slot back into the 5th position. But with the lap traffic up ahead, he could pull himself right back into contention. And maybe in the right place at the right time, but we'll see what happens as they come down for the white flag. Little and Oskin go side by side in front of the leaders, and that's going to hold them both up. It's going to hold up both Alfred and Monaco, and here come the part-timers. They're going to close in on these two that are held up by Oskin and Little. Here they come, white flag, last lap here at Indianapolis. Monaco to the inside of Avery Alford, but remember, they're all held up by Ryan Little. But Monaco now takes over the lead, heading down into turn number 2. He's got to get by this 27. Down the back straightaway one last time with Eric Monaco in tow. Joshua Neely has pulled himself right back into the 3rd spot. But here comes Martin Nixon in the 2, all over the back bumper of the 31. Down the short chute into turn number 4. I think the deal is officially sealed. They come off of turn number 4. And for the 2nd race in a row, we have another 2-time winner. And his name is Eric Monaco. Checkers in the air. And Monaco wins the Brickyard 400. What a race. What a finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, with Eric Monaco win number 2 on the season. Martin Nixon in car number 2, he finishes in P2. Joshua Neely, regardless, say what you want, but Joshua Neely, man, if he didn't get passed by Eric Monaco, we would have been talking about him as getting his first NOS Energy Cup Series win and only his 2nd start. But regardless, a top 5 finish for Joshua Neely. Blaze has to absolutely be happy with that result as Neely comes home in 3rd. Nicky Fox finishes in 4th, with Alex Sanvitali completing your top 5. Then in 6th is CG Holt. 7th is Avery Alford. Terry Walker in 8th. Val Moscow in 9th. And the 57 of Skep Silver completes your top 10. Remember, there were 30 drivers that finished the race. You see 26 of them finished on the lead lap. Little, Oskin, Stephen Walker, and also Sebastian Vaughn finished 1 lap down or more, and there's all of your retirees from 31st on down to 42nd. But my, oh my, we only had 5 cautions in this race, but the finish to this one was definitely worth the wait, 1,000,000,000%. And Eric Monaco, for the 2nd time this season, goes to victory lane and gets it done in the Brickyard 400. Holy cow. Man, I definitely thought that we were going to have ourselves a wreckfest this entire time, but thank the Lord above, that was not the case. And we definitely saw ourselves a fantastic run we saw ourselves a fantastic race here, ladies and gentlemen, and a fantastic finish at that. But man, what a showing. What a showing here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And a big congratulations as well to Eric Monaco for getting the job done. And one other thing is, of course, we might have ourselves a little bit of a potential post-race interview shaping up. I do believe is we're going to try to see if we can get a little bit of words in from Team Owner Russell Blaze, and we probably might see if we can get Wyatt Walker in here as well. see if he can have a couple words at that, probably for his own team and maybe his own performance. But man, oh man, I mean, I don't even know what else you can really say to that, but this has just been an absolutely fantastic showing from here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as I've mentioned before, and I'm probably going to keep saying that for a while. But again, big congratulations to Eric Monaco on getting the victory. And and unfortunately, I think Wyatt has declined an interview, but because he's got some other business to tend to. But we do have Russell Blaze in here. Russell, man, oh man, you had yourself a good start to the event. You started second. Let's talk about this from a driver's perspective. Of course, you started second, kind of fell back quite a ways, but unfortunately, you definitely did not have the ending to the race to this event that you would have hoped for. Just walk us through the emotion and just exactly, just talk about this race, not just from a driver's perspective, but also from an owner's perspective as well.
Oh, from a driver's perspective, I'm still a little irritated about what happened. I mean, things could have went a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, it's Indy. Things are going to happen. Now, from an owner standpoint, holy crap. From Neely winning at Minnesota, I knew there was something. And then when I announced that the 26 would be up for grabs for the 4 drivers in the Xfinity team, obviously they started showing out, mostly Neely. So I figured, you know what? Let's see what he can do in the top series. Mosport, obviously we don't really know what would have happened. But today, I was talking with the rest of the Death Rider Racing management, and we're going to pull the trigger on something. This is going to go as a little bit of a shocker. Neely's going to remain in the 26.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it gets spicier. Craven is going to drive the 1 in Xfinity next season.
Okay.
Eric is going to drive the 28.
Wow.
Next season.
So how about that? Sort of like that race for the sea sort of just became, all right, well, we have to go with plan B here is essentially what's going on here.
Yeah, especially like the showing that he had, I was like kind of like how I was in the booth at Minnesota. Just speechless, excited, everything all wrapped up, rolled into one. So, and also a big congrats to Monaco. He ran down Neely and everybody else. So hats off to them. They sure as hell earned that one. Anyone who won that race earned it, in my opinion. I can breathe again now.
Oh, there you go. I mean, you definitely were sitting on the pit box for the 2016 for a while. Hey, man, I mean, still a top 5 result nonetheless for Death Rider Racing. Why don't you go talk to your driver, Joshua Neely? And again, it's unfortunate that you weren't able to see the finish to this one, and unfortunately credited with the 40th place finish. So unfortunately, you guys are going to take a hit in the point standings, but still a good amount of time to regroup and rebound before you guys get back at it at Kansas in just a few weeks' time. So go celebrate that top 5 with Joshua Neely.
I definitely will.
Alrighty then. Well, that is Russell Blaze, the driver owner for his own team of Death Rider Racing. his comments and obviously reactions and the big bombshell of, Kyle Craven. This is you kind of figured that something like this was going to happen, sort of the last straw, if anything. And we'll still see Craven perform at a pretty good level, especially with him going down to the Xfinity Series in 2027 and with Eric Blaze now getting the nod to make the move up to the Cup Series, and Joshua Neely's going to stay in this car for the rest of the year. So definitely a very, very big bombshell there that Russell Blaze had dropped onto the WRLA world. But we're going to go ahead and sign on off here for Indianapolis. Big congratulations again to Eric Monaco on nabbing his second win of the season. And if you guys like this, be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss future streams here on Twitch. But if you're watching this live on YouTube, if you like what you see, be sure to hit the follow button and be sure to hit the like button and be sure to consider subscribing in order to keep up with all the WRLA content throughout the 2026 season. Keep an eye on the WRLA Discord for your point standings when they do get released. So after this premiere, once it concludes, that is. So again, the next time that you'll be able to see these NOS Energy Cup Series contenders will be off for a few weeks, and then we'll be getting back at it again, which would be, if I do pull up the schedule, the next time you'll see these NOS Energy Cup drivers will be at the Kansas Speedway on August 15th. August 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Xfinity Series will be following right behind them on the 14th of August on a Friday. So definitely some good midweek racing at that from the Kansas Speedway, but definitely a good amount of time for all these drivers to kind of take a break, cool down, and definitely regroup before we get back at it at the Kansas Speedway in the middle of August. One more time, congratulations to Eric Monaco on getting the job done from here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Take care. Have a great week. Stay safe. And we'll see you all in just a few weeks' time at Kansas. But as far as overall WRLA competition, we got the Hoosier Summer Tour this Saturday at the Stafford Motor Speedway live on YouTube. So basically from that, we'll see you guys this coming Saturday at the Stafford Motor Speedway for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. This WRLA telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without any authorized written consent of 11 Broadcasting. WRLA would like to thank all of our loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.